In this lesson, you're going to learn about something called absolute referencing. So go to your exercise files and open the worksheet called absolute. So let's say for this, in this worksheet called retail sales, we want the totals first. As you've known, it's simple to do the sum. So you simply highlight where you want the results. Then we just click the auto sum function and you get the results. So if you want to get the profit for shop 1, what you simply need to do is type equal sign this one, which is B9, multiply by the profit margin, which is 32. Then press the enter key. But if you want to copy this formula across all shops from shop 2 to shop 8, you simply get zeros. And why is that? Because if you double click on shop 2, for example, you can clearly see that shop 2 is referencing the profit for it is the total, which is C9 multiplied by M2, and M2 is blank. Remember, when you're copying cells, when you're copying formulas, you are not copying the value, you are copying the cell reference. So as I'm copying the formula from B10, it is also referencing to shop 2. Let me repeat again. If you click B10, you can clearly see that it's referencing B9 multiplied by L2. Okay? So if I were to copy this formula to shop 2, it would reference C9. Then, because it's self-referencing, it will also move from L2 to M2, and M2 is blank. So if you want for the profit margin to also be referenced but not to be moving, we need to put something called an absolute reference. And how you can achieve that is by putting on the L2, we put a $sign before L and after L. And when you press the enter key, what we have told Microsoft Excel is B9 to be changing whenever we're copying it across from shop 2 to shop 8, but L2 to be stationary when copying from shop 2 to shop 8. The only number that is going to be changing is the first letter of the cell. So if you were to copy, let's press escape. If you were to copy this applied change across shop 2 to shop 8, remember B9 is the only one which is going to change, and L2 is the one which is always going to be stationary, which is this one. You're going to get the correct value. So if you were to copy this change across all cells, now we get the right values. Another shortcut of adding absolute reference to L2 is, if this was the original, we simply need to put our cursor between L and 2, then press the keyboard shortcut F4, then press enter. And that is how you put absolute reference, making sure that the first reference is always changing, but the second reference is always stationary. Let's open the second worksheet called shopping. In the shopping, for example, in this section we want to calculate the tax for bread. So how do we calculate the tax for in this worksheet is very simple. What you simply need to do is equal sign, it is the subtotal, which is the quantity multiplied by the price. Okay, you get the subtotal. Then you multiply the subtotal multiplied by the tax, so that we can get the tax that we need to pay. Then you press the enter key, which is 0.8 cents. But if we need to copy this same formula to apply from milk to bagels, we can simply Control C, then highlight the rows where we want the results to appear, then press enter. But we get 0. Why is that? Because if we double click on milk, we can see that D3 is moving correctly, but J7 is referencing a blank cell. If you want to reference this cell, which is J5, and we want all the taxes to reference J5 without moving, what we simply need to do is go to the first selection, which is E3, double click on it, and tell Excel that you want the first reference to be changing, but the second reference to always be absolute, which is not changing. So what we simply do is put a cursor between J and 5, then press F4. And now this will tell Excel, for each change that you are doing, always retain J5 and make it absolute, never changing. Then you press the Enter key. Once you do that, Control C, highlight all the rows below it, then press the Enter key. Now you get the correct value. So even if we change the tax, let's say from 20 to 30, then press the Enter key, the results change because they are referencing J5. And that is how you use absolute referencing in Microsoft Excel. See you in the next lesson.